This file is taken from our Intro to Computers homepage, and there's a link to this on day number 2 for Word. And the name of the file is The Adventure of the Red-Headed League.txt. Okay, so txt means it's not a Word document, it's not an HTML document. It is just a plain old text document, and text documents are basically just pure data. You can't do any formatting, you can't do fonts or colors or line breaks or page breaks or anything like that. You can basically format your file in 2 ways. When you want to go to a new line, you hit the Enter key at the end of the line. If you want to tab over, you can hit the Tab key, and that will take you to the next tab stop. Other than that, there's not much you can do. So what I want to do first of all here is I want to take this text file. I got this from Project Gutenberg, and it is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So I want to get this into Word. So let's do a Control-A to select it all, then do a Control-C to copy it to the clipboard. And then what I want to do is I want to go over to Word here, and I want to create a brand new document. And then I'm going to paste it in, do a Control-V to paste that stuff in. Okay. Now, let me do a Control-Home. This is a fairly long document, and we still see files like this probably fairly often. These files have what's usually called a paragraph mark at the end of every single line. And this is the way text files work. Text files don't have word wrap like Word does. In Word, if you get to the right margin over here, it'll automatically throw the next word down onto the next line in the document. And the only time you need to tell it to go to a new line is when you get to the end of a paragraph. So normally we would only hit the Enter key at the end of a paragraph. If you've got your Show Hide button pushed in up here, then you can see every place where the creator of this file hit the Enter key. So basically what's happened here is we're treating every single line as if it were its own paragraph, and that's just not the case. As you look through the document here, you can see these 3 lines are intended to be one paragraph. Let's go down a little further into the actual text. It may take a while because I got a lot of stuff at the top of these documents. A lot of stuff. I had forgotten how much stuff they had. Okay, so I am down on, it looks like I'm on page number 10 before I actually get to the beginning of the document, and the rest of it's just all this legal junk up above. So let's take a look at this, and you'll see this is supposed to be a paragraph. And they did put a blank line in at the end of a paragraph. But we hit the Enter key here, and here, and here, and here, and here. And then again here. The only one we really want is this one here. Now, the way you can tell where paragraphs begin and end in this text document is because the user hit the Enter key twice in a row, here and here, and put that blank line in. So the end of a paragraph is going to be denoted by 2 blank lines. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to get this document into Word format, which is 1 paragraph mark at the end of a paragraph and nothing in the middle. And it turns out it's fairly easy to do that. I'm going to do a Control-Home to get to the beginning of the document. And then I'm going to do a Find and Replace. And that's on the Home tab, and it's over here on the right. And click on Replace. And it says, what do you want to replace? And what do you want to replace it with? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'd like to change all of these paragraph marks at the end of a line into spaces. So there would still be a gap between the end of this line and the beginning of the next line, but it would basically have the effect of bringing this line up here, taking this line up here, and so on. And you'd only have 1 paragraph mark at the end. So if I replace every single paragraph mark with a space, though, then I've pretty much lost all of my... Actually, let's do this. Let's... there's a code for a paragraph mark, and it's a caret symbol above the 6 and then a lowercase p. And I'm going to say replace all those with a space. I'm just hitting space bar once, and I'm going to do replace all. Okay. And look at what happens. It made, so there were 1,385 lines in there. And now my document is basically one big paragraph, because there are no paragraph marks in here anyplace. I'm going to close out of there, and I've totally messed up my document now, but if I hit undo, it goes back to the way it was before. So I can't just replace every paragraph mark by a space, but what I can do is I can take every place where there's 2 paragraph marks in a row, and I can replace them by something. And what I'd like is I'd like something that's fairly unique, something that would not otherwise occur in the file. So every place where there's 2 paragraph marks, that really is marking the end of a paragraph. So I'm going to mark all of those with something special first. So let's go to the top of the document here, and let's do a find and replace. The keyboard shortcut for this is Control H, and I use that one often enough that I can remember it. So what do I want to replace? I want to replace not just 1 paragraph mark, but I want to replace 2 paragraph marks in a row. So P. So that would find this one and this one right here. Okay, and then a little further down it would find these 2 right together. And I want to replace them with something that's very unusual, and I'm going to put 3 slashes in. I don't think you find 3 slashes in a row in too many documents. And then I'm going to say replace all. And it made 273 replacements. I'm going to close that window. And now you can still see in longer paragraphs like this, you can still see I've got all those paragraph marks at the end of a line. Now I can replace those with spaces. So I'm going to do Control Home again, and then do a Control H for find and replace. And I'm going to say find 1 paragraph mark, which is a caret symbol followed by a lowercase b. And then I'm going to tab down and replace it with 1 space. So I hit the space bar once, and then click on replace all. Okay. And now this kind of looks like that mess I had a little bit ago. I basically got 1 paragraph, but because I replaced pairs of paragraph marks with 3 slashes, now I know where my paragraph marks belong. So I got to do one more find and replace, and that is I want to find slash slash slash, and I want to replace it with caret P, paragraph mark. Tell it to replace all, and click on OK. It made 273 replacements, which sounds right. And then just one last thing. We were down on page 10, I guess, before we actually started getting to the actual text. So I'm going to go all the way down to there. I'm going to hit the delete key, and there's my document. And if you look through it now, it is formatted the way things should be formatted in Word. Although I did just notice one thing here. It looks like at the beginning of every line there's a space, and I don't really want that. I might have had a space there in my find and replace that I didn't see. So let's do that one more time. Let's do Control H, and if it's a space at the beginning of a line, it's got a paragraph mark right above it, and then a space. So paragraph mark space, and what I want to replace it with is just a plain old paragraph mark. So caret P, and no space. So I'll get rid of all spaces for me. Now click on replace all, and it did 220 replacements, and now every single paragraph begins right up here at the left margin. It does not have a space at the beginning of the paragraph. And now this is a Word document that is formatted correctly. If I need to go in and do some editing, it's real easy to do. Word will take care of all the word wrap for me, and it's just a much easier document to work with. There are a few other, let's do a replace command up here again. And there are a few other shortcuts. If you click on more here, down here when you're doing find and replace, it'll actually let you look for formatting too, like rather than characters that are formatted a certain way. But you can have it insert a paragraph mark for you, a tab character for you. I'm going to do a tab character. That's a caret followed by a T. So it puts a caret T in there, and it's got a bunch of them. Let me see if I wanted to put in, like a non-breaking hyphen, an M dash or an N dash. This is basically a hyphen. This is like twice as long as a hyphen. So there are some shortcuts here. The ones I use almost exclusively from this list are paragraph mark and tab character. So sometimes I need to find those and replace them with something else, or I need to insert them someplace. So there's a lot to Word. when it comes to finding and replacing, you can look for special characters. You can also go down here and look for characters that are formatted a particular way, in a particular font or whatever. So there are a lot of options, and the more you know about the options, the easier your life will be if you need to do some editing of large documents in Word.